Positivity and some good news. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It is 9:03 on a Tuesday. I got Dr. Aaron Chapa, Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, here in studio. Dr. Chapa, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Gardy. How are you this fine morning?
I'm doing good, feeling good.
Did you get woke up by the storm with the hail and all the fun stuff that was blowing through?
So I woke up before that. So I went and did jiu-jitsu. I trained, and then I went and lifted weights. But while I was lifting weights, that lightning was insane. And I guess I woke up and my car was kind of wet. But I woke up pretty early.
Something was up.
Yeah, I woke up pretty early today. But then it was crazy lightning.
I don't know what was going on. I was up at 4 a.m. and awfully early for myself. And then, me and one of my dogs went outside and meandered around, and it started sprinkling a little bit, and went back to sleep. And then the rain came, and it was like, that hard pitter-patter, then a big storm, and then, and I said, man, I ain't going to mess around. I'm going to go ahead and get on up. It was like 4:40, I think, and I got up, and another one of my dogs, meanders downstairs, and she's like, oh, pick me up. And I'm like, okay, come here, So we go outside, and I have to coax her to go in the grass, which means I have to get in the grass because I have to show her that it's okay.
Yes.
And it's like, really?
But it's wet.
It's wet. I don't get my paws wet. And I'm like, well, I got my feet wet. Come on, dog.
Yeah.
And
how many dogs do you have?
3.
3 dogs.
Yeah, and they're all under 12 pounds. And so we're the small dog crew, but we like it. It's good.
Are they named after supplements? Because that's what I imagine.
Congoplex, come here.
Congoplex, where you at? Come
Energy
here.
Force. No, they're Papillons, and they are they're toy animals, what they call them. They're under 10 pounds, and one of them is at 12. But I mean, they're fun. And but anyway, that's my morning routine. They between them and me, we're up playing around, tinkering around, doing stunts and tricks and toy activities, and but they don't not like. One of them does not like the weather, so they go under the bed, and it's just fun. It's fun to watch animals interact with the environment, and so I wonder too, does the weather affect your health, and how many people are affected by storms and barometric pressure shifts? And then when I got out to my truck this morning, when I was leaving after the second storm came through, I saw all the pollen on the ground. So the good news is, folks, spring is upon us. The challenging news for some of you folks is spring is upon us, and the pollen is going to get you. But guess what? I had a guy come in yesterday, and he was so excited because he was a little bit skeptical, that if nutrition could help him with his allergies. He's suffered a long time, and he goes, I tried, finally. He's been 3 visits, and finally he tries one of my ideas, and I'm like, okay,
Then why are you coming? You're not going to try it.
And he finally tries it, and he comes back and goes, okay, I'm ready to do the whole program. This is amazing. I've never been able to be around dogs. I've never been able to be around allergies and the seasons, and I cannot believe how effective, Allerplex was in helping me. And all it does is roto-root the lymphatics and clean out the liver. And, allergies are a liver congestion issue, a lymphatic backup problem. And so, one of the ideas that I wanted to bring to the table is just to remind people that all life starts and stops at the cellular level. And it is as simple as that. Nutrition is the fundamental backbone that allows you to live better, be better, and stay better. What you put in your body is important. What you avoid putting in your body is more important. So I want to make sure that you guys grab hold of the idea that food is your medicine, first and foremost. If you're eating make-believe food, Gardy, what do you think you're going to get?
Just make-believe health.
Make-believe health, dude. You cannot expect to put fake fuel in the system and expect it to perform at a level that allows you to perform well in your mind and your thinking and creative power, in your physical gusto, that vim, vigor, and vip that allows you to take your energy and drive to the world around you. And, if you find yourself in a rut, if you find yourself dealing with symptom patterns that you weren't genetically born with, I challenge you to give Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center a call. Let us help you. 281-554-8600. We want to give you tools, principles, lifestyle practices that you can integrate in order to get the cells to perform like God designed them to, get the body to detox like it's designed to, get the body not to carry around all those toxic burdens. Remember, toxins are nothing more than something that your body cannot use. So if your body can use it as a fuel source, it will. If it can't, it'll deal with it. It has to process it into something either that it can excrete through your urine, through your stool, or through your sweat glands, or something that you breathe out. If it can't deal with it in that way, it'll store it in the brain. Now you got brain fog. Who wants brain fog? No one. Who wants to struggle with names, numbers, and words? Who wants to struggle with creative, writer's block or thinking power block? I come on the radio this morning and I'm just like, what am I going to talk about, Lord? What do you want to give the people? What do you want them to grasp? And in all the studies, we just taught a clinical training class this weekend. My team and I, Jennifer and Molly, and we're sitting there going through and we're teaching pediatrics. And we start with, what's the difference between the peds or the fetus and you? And the answer, nothing. You are a conglomeration of cells that have come together to make tissues that came together to make organs and glands working together to create systems. And the organism, your body, develops into this wonderful vessel of life that God breathes life into, that he knitted together in your mother's womb, that is now fed here in the flesh with nutrition, food, nourishment. And when you look up food by definition, food should give you energy. So if you eat food and you don't get energy, you get sleepy after lunch, sleepy after breakfast, sleepy after dinner, you should question whether or not you're eating food, Gardy. I know that's a revelation.
Food is energy.
But food is energy.
I saw something that said that fat is like energy stored. And I don't know if that was like a simplification of it, but I was like, I guess that makes sense.
But it is. But oftentimes fat is even more than that. It is your body's inability to get rid of the waste through the urine, the stool, the air, or the sweat glands. So your body can't get rid of this stuff. If you can't pee it out, poop it out, sweat it out, breathe it out, guess what happens? It gets stored in your brain and you lose mental function, or it gets stored in fat cells. And then the fat cells start swelling up. They can swell up 7 to 10 times the size of normal. The good news for you guys that have maybe a little excess around the middle or excess around the thighs or hips, guess what? We're teaching a class tonight on shrinking those fat cells in the world that you live.
I saw you out there changing the sign.
Yeah, but no, I was taking notes. I was so excited. I had to just take notes. I wanted to make sure I got the date and the time right and the location. It's at 815 East Main Street at 6:38 p.m. Hello.
Tonight.
That was tonight. And so you better be there or be square. You're going to learn something. You're going to be excited when you're there. We've got tools to help you get better answers with where your health is can take you. You can choose better. You can live better. It's your life, your health, your choice. And the choices that you made for breakfast this morning are going to dictate the productivity, your attitude, your vim, vigor, and vip to get through the day. What are you after? I mean, so when those fat cells are swelling up, they're swelling up to protect you. And that's interesting, because nature's solution to pollution is dilution. And people go, huh? What'd he say? And what I mean by that is if you've got a concentrated burden so toxic that your body is actually getting hindered by it or diseased by it, your body will combat that by holding on to more fluid. It'll store that trash in a place where it can deal with it away from the vital organs. And so your body will develop fat tissue in order as a storage facility. So we all see storage facilities when we're driving down the road. Mm-hmm. Every time I look at them, I see all those orange and yellow and green and blue doors, and I say, "Kids, what do all those doors represent?" And they all go, "Money, lots and lots of money." And I'm like, "That's right." And what do people store in those those cases? And they say, "Junk, more and more junk."
I'm imagining it in unison. They're like,
yes,
1, 2, 3, and everybody
like
says
soldiers,
Yeah.
I want them to get it that we as a population, as a people, have a tendency to accumulate useless information that doesn't serve us in any way. So be mindful of what you put into your mind. Be mindful about what you put into your body. Be mindful about the water you drink or the fluid you drink. If you're drinking something other than water, be mindful because you may be putting in toxins that are hurting, that are hindering, that are burdening your body, that are causing fat cells to swell up. And then if your body can't sweat it out, pee it out, poop it out, breathe it out, guess where it stores it? In your joints. And now you've got arthritis or arthritis. I've said it so many times I can't even say it right anymore. Arthritis, most people call it. I call it arthritis because there's nothing rightus about it. And I want people to grab hold of the idea that if you're in pain, if you're overweight, if your brain hurts and you got headaches and migraines, you're toxic. That is your body crying out for help. It's saying, I am overloaded. My body cannot keep up. I need cleansing. And tissue cleansing through proper bowel management, through liver detoxification, through lymphatic drainage protocols, help your body flush those toxins. And then all of a sudden something beautiful happens. Then those tissues begin to cleanse themselves. Those organ systems begin to work synergistically with their neighboring system. The cardiovascular system is more efficient. Your adrenal endocrine system is more efficient. And I'll tell you, when a person's endocrine axis is weak, that is their hypothalamus, pituitary, that's in your head right here, then it communicates down to the thyroid, that's your diesel engine, your metabolism. That communicates down to your adrenal glands, your stress mechanisms, your blood pressure mechanisms, your blood sugar mechanisms. It communicates down to your sex organs. That allows you to be potent. And so if you are potent and that whole system is working like it's supposed to, you will take an attitude of gratitude to the world. You will shine a light that only God can shine through and allow people to see from miles and miles. You will catch on fire in ways, and people will come from miles and miles to watch you burn with passion about what you're excited about, no matter what it is. If you and you will blossom, you will bloom right where you're planted. And good health causes this this radiant gusto to come out of you. And I want to encourage you that if you don't feel the gusto coming out of you, you need a little Vim, Vigor, and Vip in your step. Give Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center a call, 281-554-8600. Come be, yes, Molly says, I want to be potent. And of course, we all want to be potent. And because here's the reality, if you're not potent, you're on the bench, you're on the sideline. You're not giving your very best that you could because your body can't keep up. Because you're full of toxins, you're full of trash, waste, debris, things that your body can't get rid of, that it's now storing in these housings, these extra storage facilities, and they cost money, lots and lots of money, and the money that it's costing you is a promotion. It's costing you time with your kids, creative energy. It's costing you that experience of adventure that you want to give back to the world and experience. And there's enough out there that we can continue, no matter what the disease that you're experiencing, no matter what the symptom pattern that you have. If you were not genetically born with it, odds are you can undevelop it. And I'm shocked. I'm amazed. If I can get people just to start tinkering, just get involved a little bit with their own health instead of let somebody direct their health to the idea that it's all genetics and something that they're just going to pass up line. Oh, it's my mom's fault I got high blood pressure. Oh, it's my dad's fault that I got digestive disorders. Oh, it's my condition. We accumulate useless information. We accumulate useless, attractions to things that we need to not be attracted to. So, when we go to church services and there's a healing that happens, one of the first things that you have to help people realize is stop claiming it as your own. Those aren't your migraines. Oh, my migraines. Oh, my blood pressure. Oh, my belly pain. You might have belly pain. You might have high blood pressure. You might have a migraine coming on, but man, let's beat it up. Let's stop it at the pass. Let's do something different. Let's put nutrients in. Let's see if we can change the way your liver's performing. Let's change the way your GI tract's performing. Let's change the way something in your biochemistry and see if we can make a difference in the way the outcome normally comes. So if your outcome is normally you're in bed for hours in a cold, dark room in the fetal position, wishing that life would be over for the day, and you could just fall asleep because of the pain in your mind, in your head. Oh yeah, that's how people suffer. and it always ends with, taking some sort of over-the-counter or some sort of high-potent medication that is derailing brain neurons in your brain and causing the brain not to perform at all. It's almost sedative and puts you to sleep and knocks you out. If that's your solution, hey, let's try something different. Because what if we could interrupt the cycles? What if we could interrupt the fact that your hormones are contributing to your body's ails? It requires so much energy to shift the body into a cycle, a hormonal cycle called a period or menstruation, that if you are having other symptoms that come on in and around that time of the month, guess what? That's a sign of nutritional deficiencies. You don't have the resources to juggle two balls. Well, let's see if we can feed your body and get the body to be able to regulate both sides of the coin, the healthy hormonal cycle, the stress management cycle, and your digestive detoxification cycle. We got so many things that your body is doing and involved with. The liver has over 600 jobs that it has to work with and deal with all throughout the day. And we need to support it more and more, especially in an age where we are seeing the decline. Does that make sense?
It does. Molly, she left 2 comments, and they're both scriptures. I'm going to read them because I think it's very good. She said, "For whoever desires to love life and see good days, let him keep his tongue from evil and his lips from speaking deceit." That's 1 Peter 3:10. And the next one is, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof." Proverbs 18:21. And I think she left another one. I haven't read this one yet, but I'll read it now. "Whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there is any virtue, and if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things." Philippians 4:8.
I mean, at the end of the day, all good things, right? The scripture is the best multivitamin you could put in your body day in and day out. Jesus, I saw somebody had a little thing on their kitchen, above their kitchen sink that says, "I need a little bit of coffee and a whole lot of Jesus."
That's all they need.
And that's really all you need.
Ingredients.
And that will light you up, and that should light you up. And so I'm so excited. What up, Chris? I'm glad you're tuned in, man. Hope you're feeling better. Hope things are going well for you and your family. And, keep on moving on up, buddy. So it's good that you're tuning in and you're on the radio with us today. So this is exciting to just share health and wellness with people. Reminder, tonight, 6:30 p.m., we have our Shrinking Healthy in a Toxic World. Man, we are filled full of toxins right, left, and Sunday. We got to be careful. We got to be mindful. We got to start getting our mind wrapped around what we need to avoid. There's 4 deadly food additives. We know that these deadly 4 food additives, if we can just pull those out of the diet, how much change we could change in our body. So we got MSG, monosodium glutamate, a known neurotoxin. So if you are putting in things that have MSG in there, take it out. Get it out. It's not even worth finishing the bottle.
What kind of stuff is usually containing that?
So spices notoriously have. So if you season your stuff at a restaurant, if you put your favorite steak rubs, typically at your grocery stores, if you're marinating, marinades typically have it in there. It is in most, if not every, frozen processed TV dinner, microwavable dinner, quick snack food that you'll drop in the microwave or oven, the little, the little pizza thingies that people grab hold of, all loaded with MSG, monosodium glutamate. And this stuff is a known neurotoxin. It comes in the form of, and what's unfortunate is there's about 20 other names associated with it. We put it up here before, and we can put it up here again, excitotoxins, other hidden names. It is called an excitotoxin because it excites the neuron to the point of cell death, where the neuron burns out. And so if you step on the accelerator and redline the engine too often, you'll burn up the engine, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the same goes with the neurons in the brain and our nerve tissues. And so this is a known neurotoxin we've got to take it out. Because if your brain cannot communicate to the cells downstream in your liver, your heart, your lungs, your digestive tract, you're in trouble. And because if that communication line is broken, then the messages of how to perform and how to function aren't happening. If the feedback loops from the periphery from the systems downstairs aren't communicating relays back up to the brain to let the brain know that the job was done, we've got a problem. So we have to start recognizing and realizing that there is work to be done in making sure the brain and body connect well. There's a brain and gut connection. There's the brain-gut connection is probably the most abundant of the connections in making sure that what we put in our body is assimilated in a way that builds us and not tears us down. And then we've got things like partial hydrogenated oil. In any fast food restaurant you go to, any sit-down restaurant that uses dressings, any marinades, partial hydrogenated oil is typically the oil of choice. This clogs up the liver for 3 to 6 months. People don't like to hear that because who doesn't want to go to their favorite steakhouse or their favorite meal house and get whatever it is they get? Hey, the average American has the same 11 meals that they rotate through. And if you're eating, say, 10 or all 11 of those meals containing MSG and or partially hydrogenated oil, sooner or later, you're going to reach the tipping point and you're going to start experiencing symptom patterns that you weren't genetically born with. Skin rashes, heart issues, kidney issues, digestive distress. You're going to have some sort of blood pressure problem or migraine headache, or you're going to be more prone to illnesses. And then whenever you start looking into this more, you realize that every fast food chain has all 4 deadly food additives under their roofs.
Like every meal.
I'm so sorry, to be the guy that says it. But
I did like that they started putting some of the nutrition facts. It's like if you order a number one, it's 670 calories, and then if you get the drink and the fries, and it's 1,200 calories,
which is good, right? At least now because we do have a consumption problem. The 4 deadly food additives, and I've been teaching these 4 deadly food additives for my entire career, and I mean it mind boggles me. Artificial sugars are another known neurotoxin. They've been used in the past for biological warfare. They've been used to change the way the brain waves function, and it is just a very sad state of affairs that we will allow toxins in our food supply that could hurt our brain, that could hurt our body, that could hurt our endocrine system, our hormones. And then, so if you're putting in anything that has sucralose, and you got to be careful because sucralose is an artificial sugar that's a chlorinated hydrocarbon, and it is the yellow stuff that people put in their drinks. It's on your labels oftentimes. If it says diet, light, sugar-free, those are buzzwords for these types of toxic products that you're drinking, and you're just stuffing them down. You got a question?
No. So Megan, she sent a graphic, and she was asking, can we put this up? But I can do this. I can do this. So it has the 4 deadly food additives on there, and it's good just to be reminded of this stuff. And, right now we're talking about artificial sweeteners, which there's a lot of stuff that we look at and I consume personally that says 0 calorie. And so they're sweetening it with something.
Yeah. I mean, if it's sweet and it says 0 calorie, you got to question what it is that they are putting in there to make it taste good. And typically it's a chemical enhancer, and that chemical enhancer might taste good, but it might come with a cost. So you have to know a little bit. You've got to start taking the bull by the horns and get educated on these buzzwords. And once you start catching these buzzwords, you'll start going, oh, that's what that stuff is. Hey, I never thought. Maybe that's what's driving my blood pressure. Hey, I never thought. That's what's driving my migraine. Hey, I never thought. That might be driving whatever it is that you're experiencing every time you consume it, and you never put 2 and 2 together until you start recognizing that food is medicine and or a poison, I hate to say.
Mm-hmm.
And the last of the 4 is the high fructose corn syrup. Most people think high fructose corn syrup is just a processed corn sugar, which it is, and it spikes your blood sugar in very negative ways, and it confuses the cells, and your body builds up and accumulates this waste. It stresses out your liver. If your liver gets backed up, and it's involved in every metabolic process in the body, it is responsible as a chemical factory in detoxification so that you can excrete what waste needs to be excreted or store what needs to be stored. If it's not functioning like it's supposed to, and now toxins are backlogging and floating around in the blood supply, now you're running risk of blood inflammation, pH changes that cause massive disease to start taking shape and taking form. And so we've got to start looking at these 4 deadly food additives, because the other hidden ingredient typically found in high fructose corn syrup is mercury. Mercury toxicity. We all think, oh, it's the fish that causes me to have mercury issues, or it's got too many toxic metals and da-da-da, whatever. Okay, maybe, but and I'm not saying that it's not. But the processed nature of this substance, 4 deadly food additives, we call them 4 deadly food additives for a reason, because they are killing you. every time you consume them. Oh, that little bit ain't going to hurt me, right, Dr. Chapa? Yeah, but a little cocaine ain't going to hurt you, right? That's what they keep telling us. Well, the reality is it will. It will hurt you. It is addictive. It is very much a poison that is robbing your body of life and vitality. It's causing your body to store fat. It is causing your brain to swell up with toxins that it can't use, and it's limiting your bandwidth, your margin to learn new information and to keep growing and developing and stimulating that mind towards greatness. And you start slipping down the slippery slope of decline. And we've got to help you get out of that rut. So if those are the only 4 things you do to help your body shrink in a more healthy way in the 21st century, guess what? You're a winner. The difference between the winners and the losers, guys, is one more step. Just move your health forward one more step. I always want you to recognize that it's simple. It really is. There is simple practices that you can start integrating right now. Tissue cleansing through proper bowel management. I love this title of this book. Bernard Jensen did a great job in it because he talks about, in his 55 years and 55,000 case files of patient base that he was working on, he came to realize that it always came down to the health of the bowel. If the bowels are not healthy, if the bowels are not clean, then they're dirt, more often than they're not, the tissues will back up and will store toxins, and over time will cost you your health. And so we've got to look at what is happening in the bowel, and it's proper bowel management. Management means I have to actually do something, correct?
Yes.
I mean, it isn't something that your air filters don't change on their own. Your oil filter doesn't change on its own. You don't get your tires rotated. They don't just magically happen one morning. You got to take it somewhere or jack it up or do something. Mm-hmm. There's a management. There's a upkeep to maintaining the house. You got to mow the grass every week in the summer. You've got to put your, hippie fertilizer down. You got to do what you need to do to make sure that you're caring for your environment. Well, management means that you've got to be actively doing it. And I'm coming to grips with the same thing. Every conversation I have, when people are doing great, we have 5 steps to health. Okay, so we take people out of symptom land into a corrective and strengthening phase of care where we get their brain and their hormones and everything to start balancing out, and then we get them into the I feel good phase. In that I feel good phase, they have a choice. Do they make the climb into life repair and making lifestyle support practices natural and what we call habits, that is easy and effortless? Or do they slip down back into symptom land because they get cocky, or they just kind of get lazy, or they just kind of fall off the wagon, or because of a tragedy or a storm or an event of life that happens to us all, that we just slip down and start making poor choices because we're stressed out, because we just don't know what to do, or because it's just what we've always done. People are creatures of habit. They do typically what they've always done, even expecting something different to come of it. But we know what that really means. What?
Insanity.
Yeah. And I'm not talking about the workout. I'm talking about cray-cray. You can't expect good things to come if you keep doing what you've always done. So if you don't like where you're at, if you don't like the health that you are presenting right now, if your body's not performing like it did when you were 18, or if it's not performing like it did when you were 28, 38, 48, depending on what age you are, every time I start working with a patient, we start at the beginning. We listen to the story. We understand where they're at in symptom land. And then we start showing them why their body's breaking down. And when they start seeing the patterns and the trends, because we'll talk it out with them, and they'll hear adrenals. Guess where we're going to start probably? The adrenals. And then we start looking at their food intake, and we start realizing, oh, I know, they were on the way up. They were doing good. They got to the I feel good space, and they had an opportunity to go higher and make it lifestyle instead of an event in their life. And now all of a sudden they start doing some of the things that got them sick in the first place, and they start doing a little bit more of those things, and they fall off the wagon. They stop taking their supplements, and I was so disappointed. I had this patient come in, great patient of mine, and she got pregnant, and she was seeing her medical professional, and this medical professional discouraged her from taking my prenatal program. And you don't understand, Gardy. Like, I've worked really, really hard at building what I'm going to call the best prenatal program around. It's very encompassing. It supports the mother's adrenal endocrine axis because she needs to be potent and robust so that she can stay mom if she's already a mom, so she can stay the wife that she's always wanting to be, so that she can stay healthy, so that she doesn't degenerate faster than she regenerates, and so that she can build a healthy baby in that womb, so that all the resources are there, so that the body can nourish and strengthen and course correct and make that little mold of clay. It's like God's hand in there just doing his thing, right? But when the baby comes out, if the baby is weak, it's because mom was weak. If the baby has blood sugar issues, it's because mom probably had blood sugar issues. If the baby is got adrenal issues and stress, it's because mom was stressed. And so the program is encompassing to take care of mom's brain, baby's brain, mom's liver, baby's liver, the digestive systems of both, the adrenal systems of both, to make sure that the development of both the mom and the baby are ready during the fetal development side, the postnatal side, so that the milk production will be there, so that little baby can get good, healthy milk supply while that digestive tract and that blood-brain barrier are coming to seal and heal. Because we've got to remember that thing, even though the baby's been in there 9 months, it's never used this digestive tract, not in the capacity that it's about to, with having to take things in through the tube. And so I was so discouraged because she convinced her to get off her stuff, and she came in bawling her eyes out. She was she was stressed out. And I said, listen, your baby is feeling every bit of the stress that you're feeling right now. What has changed? And I said, are you taking your supplement program? Are you eating like you're supposed to? No, I'm not. I said, why? She goes, my so-and-so told me I shouldn't take all that.
Did they give a good reason or a reason?
No. The reason was, you shouldn't need that. Okay. I appreciate that you don't know what you're talking about, but don't discourage other people because you have an opinion. Like, I wouldn't have put you on it if it wasn't necessary. See, when people come in and we sit down and we go through these care plans with people, I'm learning. Do you remember in the movie Maverick where, what's his name? I think it was Mel Gibson. He's playing cards, right? And he gives an hour to the table. He goes, I guarantee I'll lose for an hour. And they're all like, what? And then he starts playing his cards backwards, and he's the whole time he's just playing, he's losing. And then as soon as it was 61 minutes, he turns it on and it's game time. And he starts winning and he kills them. He takes all of his money back and theirs. And they all get ticked off and mad and they accuse him of cheating and all that stuff. And he goes, what do you think I was doing that first hour? You think I was just sitting here mindless? No, I was learning your tales. When we sit down at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center with patients, we take it very, very seriously, Gardy. It's a very serious business. I look at it like an intimate relationship that you do not have with just anybody. We teach this culture to our clinicians that you are going into a space that is sacred. And that sacred space, we're learning your tales. We're learning that you're a stress junkie. We're learning that you're a liver toxic mess. We're learning that your bowels are backed up, blocked up, sluggish, slow, or stopped. We are figuring out why your skin is breaking down and irritated and you're only 18 or 28 years old, or why you still got acne in your 40s, and what's going on with that. We're helping you overcome the objections and excusitis that you've been believing for the years and years and years prior. We're overcoming the life circumstances that are literally trying to trip you up along the health journey. We're helping you recognize the pitfalls that are keeping you from being your best. You see? And that is an important thing that isn't happening in most clinics these days. We are learning your tales. Everybody has a tale. Everybody has patterns. The body is always expressing itself in its weak link and its chink in the armor. We are going to help you build up that area, build your defenses, clean out the system so that it can perform at a robust, abundant level. That is exciting. That is health. And then all of a sudden, something wonderful happens. the body begins to detoxify. The fat cells begin to shrink naturally. The brain begins to deburden, and you start thinking clearer. Your joints stop hurting. I've seen rheumatoid arthritis melt away. I've seen fingers that were like swelled up 4 or 5 times the size that it was supposed to. They couldn't bend the knuckle. They were in pain. This one little joint right here in the pointer finger ruined every day of their life for over a year. All they could think about is their stinking finger. Are you kidding me? All the potential in the world. 3 detoxes, done. And they still can't fully bend it because it stayed fused for so long and swollen for so long, but there's no more redness. It's not 4 or 5 times the size it was. It's now like just maybe double the size, but it doesn't hurt, and they are fully functional. They're running their own business. They moved to Florida. They're doing good. They're living great. They're aging gracefully, and they're living. Isn't that good? The patient that was told to get off their stuff, their prenatal program, I helped her understand, get back on your program. Let's get you start eating healthy breakfast again. Let's get your water intake up. Let's make sure your bowels are moving. Let's get things kicking. Let me see you next week and see where we're at. 1 week, it was literally like I flipped the switch. And the switch flipped, and she goes, I can't even believe it. I said, why? We fed you. Your body was deficient. You were eating for 2. You were developing a baby. There is a high concentration of nutritional demands, and you weren't giving it to yourself. And people go, oh, well, you shouldn't need that. Oh, I appreciate you shouldn't need it. Yeah, you're right. There's supplements. You shouldn't need it, but you eat poorly. You eat terrible. You're eating junk day in and day out. You're constantly being marketed to buy fake food, and you expect your baby to grow. You expect your milk supply to be there. You expect your brain to work for you. You expect your body to do what it's supposed to do all the days of your life. That's silly. You know, man, we all have, I heard a financial advisor tell me one time, we all have unlimited wants and limited resources. And I'm like, I want to thump you in the skull because you're right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, God bless you. You're right. Dang it. I have unlimited, wants. Well, I want to not have to eat perfect. I want to never have to take a supplement. I want to never have to eat a vet. My kids always go, what if heaven is like chocolate is good for us and vegetables are bad for us? I go, I'll be honest with you. The way I interpret the Bible, pre-sin, I think that we were fruitarians. Because the Bible references fruit of the tree, fruit of the vine. You eat of the fruit of this, the fruit of that. After sin, God says, I've cursed the land, and you will have to toil with it to get any value out of the plants of the ground. Mm-hmm. And I go, huh? Oh, dang it. Plants of the ground, cursed. Darn it. And then, you know what I mean? It's like, but we don't live east of Eden. And because of that, we have to deal with the sin of the world that we carry, the burdens of eating healthier, living a different life. The Bible says to get to heaven, the road is narrow, right? To live long and vigor, and with a long life, with being full of vitality. For me, 125, fully functional in spirit, mind, and body. I'd love for you to come along with me. I'd love for you to have the vision to see yourself 100 years from now, see yourself 80 years from now, see yourself 50 years from now, see yourself 5 years from now. Wherever you're at, Gardy, you know the rule. When's the best time to plant an oak tree?
It'd be 30 years ago, a long time ago.
30 years ago, a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But if you did not plant your oak tree 30 years ago of health and wellness and vitality and longevity, when would you think the best next time to plant that seed would be?
That would be today.
Today. Today is the day that you start going for a walk and you start an exercise plan. Today is the day that you start a food plan, and you start with breakfast. You start with water intake. You get your nutrient value up, concentration. But please be realistic. Don't expect to eat how you want and look how you want. It doesn't work that way. I've seen enough patients, and every one of you go, but so-and-so that is my friend can. Yeah, I got it. For every one of those persons that seemingly get away with whatever they want to do, how they want to do it, there is 99 other people that cannot. So when I get my hands on folks, I literally, when they get home from a trip, I clean their bowels, clean their liver. And I mean, I'm a poop doctor. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I literally am talking shop about people's bowels day in and day out. So much so that Alexa has like all these cool poop jokes that my kids have shared with me now because we talk about bowel function so much in my home. I mean, it's such a big deal. I got a headache. I know, Dad, but my bowels aren't moving. I'll go get some peppermint and get some chamomile, get some of this and whatever to help things get going.
Did you realize when you first started 14, 15, 20 years ago on your journey that's what it was going to come down to?
I honestly could say that if I knew I was going to talk about poop every day, I probably don't think I would have just that would have been my go-to. Like, oh, yeah, I totally want to do that job, Let me go and talk poop all day long. And no, but it's amazing. Garbage in, garbage out, that old saying. If you put in make-believe food, that's why I like to say it that way, because if you think about it, make-believe food, this stuff is loaded with junk, plastics, chemicals, metals. It has no biophotons. It has no life. It has no resonant frequency. It's amazing that the body will actually do anything with it, and we can abuse the body the way we do, and it live as well as it does. It truly is fascinating to me. Fascinating. But if you start really sitting down and paying attention, you start seeing the decline. And when you read books about genetics and you start listening to the tales of time, history always teaches us and has taught us it takes 3 generations to brainwash a culture. It takes 3 generations to ruin a gene code. So, if you are 1 generation away from farmland, agricultural living, a slower paced life. My uncle, for example, he smoked like a chimney, but he lived off the land. He was out in the sun. He gardened every day. He rode around on his tractor. He had a well that he dug an extra, 60 to 80 feet deep, deeper than all of his neighbors. So he always had clean, good water. And he lived a life that was like that, but he smoked. That was like his one really bad habit, right? The dude lived until his late 80s, and yeah, he had, joint issues, and he had some, cognitive changes towards the very, very end. But up until the last, 3-4 years, he was pretty functional. When we all thought he was about to, kick the bucket, he found a spark and went and cleared the pasture. And everybody was like, he shouldn't be doing that. And I'm thinking, if the dude don't move.
The dude don't groove.
The dude don't groove.
That's right.
If the dude wants to get out there and work it, let him work. Shoot, I'd rather him, keel over doing something active and loving life and being out in the pasture, working the land, than to be decrepit in an old folks' home, lonely and bitter and wanting something adventurous to happen for their lives. That's really not a way that I don't think anybody wants to live, or if they knew that was the way it was going to turn out. If you knew that your life was going to turn out with dementia and Alzheimer's, I think that you would probably live a little different today. Don't you think?
Make some changes.
Yeah. And people just don't realize that you are in control of that. You can start making changes right now, today, with the food choices that you make, the water intake that you drink, the foods and water sources or the fluid sources that you don't put into your body. And all of a sudden, your body will start undoing the junk that has been built up, accumulated waste, and you start detoxifying. You start working the liver, the bowels. You start working the lymphatics. You start seeing the heart function better. You start exercising. All of a sudden, now, I get, like my neighbor, I'm so proud of him. He's now he's like his middle to low 80s, and he is up to 9 miles a day.
Wow.
9 with a walker. He goes, if I could just get rid of this dang walker, but I'm just afraid I might fall. Then I won't be walking. And I'm like, you know what? You go, man, because if the dude don't move,
the dude don't groove.
The dude don't groove. So no matter how old, no matter what conditions you've been diagnosed with, what are you going to quit to? More drugs? Listen, Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center is a drug-free zone. We want to get you off the drugs. We want to get your body so strong that we outperform the drugs. One of my favorite stories, I had this psychiatric patient was on 12 different psychiatric medications. 12. I cannot believe it, but whatever. That's the answer to a different story question we can talk about some other time, how that made me feel. And her and I would battle every week. Oh, man, she came though. She came with her boxing gloves on, and I came with my shield up, and man, we just went to town. And I had to help her unravel bad thinking and help her, work through the challenges. And we got her to a point where she would do 2 shakes a day, and she would intermittent fast all day and have 1 good meal. That's all she would do for me. But remember what I always say, Gardy, what you eat's important.
But what you don't eat is more important.
I got her off the artificial 4 deadly food additives. I got her off of the processed junk foods. We got her blood sugar stable. I got her taking fish oils. I got her taking mitochondrial respiration support products to help upregulate her tissues, to get those cells to communicate better. I got minerals into her game through a liquid. That's about all she would do for me. And then a shake that balanced blood sugar and decreased inflammation in the brain, decreased inflammation in the blood, and decreased inflammation in the gut. And something amazing began to happen. She felt confident enough over time to start doing yoga activities. Then she started doing roller derby. Then she started doing other activities. And then all of a sudden she got a promotion. And then the next thing I know, she's starting to date. And then next thing I know, we've got her down to 6 medications. Then the next thing I know, she's down to 3. The next thing I know, she's down to 1. And I can remember it like it was yesterday. It was a precious moment. It was a sunny afternoon, late afternoon after her work schedule. And man, she just, with tears in her eyes, just said, for the first time in over 20, 22, 25 years, I'm afraid to even say it out loud, but I don't want to kill myself today. And I just said, praise Jesus. And it took time. It didn't happen overnight. It was about a 12-month run. And it took time to get that process to unravel the nasty weave that she was stuck in. But, dude, 20-some-odd years, a year work, and she wasn't even perfect. She fought me every a step of the way. That's okay. We're going to go to battle together. You just show up. Because the difference between the winners and the losers is one more step. If you'll just show up and let us teach you, help you, serve you, if you'll let us encourage you, inspire you, motivate you, give you one more thing to try, one more thing to do, I'm convinced that your body wants to heal. When you quit, you quit on yourself. You're not hurting anybody but yourself and those that love you and need you to be the best you can be. And so I encourage you, the difference between the winners and the losers is one more step. Take one more step forward, one more step away from the direction that you've been going, and try something different. Do something different. And having an adult time frame on it, that it may take a little time. Most of the time when people come in and they're not where they want to be yet, it's just because they haven't given enough time. It's not that it doesn't work. It's that there's so much to unravel. You have a history of things that you've been doing and that haven't been working and haven't been serving you. But if we can get the bowels to clear, the liver to clear, the lymphatics to clear, if we can strengthen your endocrine system and get your body to outperform the drugs, outperform the disease, your body will start living in a different capacity. And it really fires me up to just see how quickly the body makes a turn whenever you give it tools to function like it's supposed to. And tonight is our opportunity to pour into you. This morning from 9 to 10 every week on KHEA Radio, we come out and we give the best we can to help you be encouraged. Don't make health hard. Don't accept that it has to be hard. Appreciate that God uses the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. The foolish things. And just like she was talking about, let's think on things differently. Mental vitamins are important, the way we see the world, the lens for which we see. Now, granted, you might not have the endocrine system to help you be grateful or thankful. And so at first you might have to use a little bit of willpower. But if you allow us to get alongside you and train you and to help you see foods to get rid of, processed junk to get rid of, and you allow us to give you nutrients to build you and strengthen you and give you the gusto to move forward, onward, upward, goodward, and Godward, guess what's going to start happening? It's going to become more natural. You're going to be consciously or unconsciously competent. It's just going to be natural. You won't even realize you're doing it. And that is a great place to be, a drug-free life. Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center believes that all life starts and stops at the cellular level, and nutrition is the fundamental backbone. At 6:30 p.m. tonight, we're going to continue our quest to teach you how to live better, be better, and stay better through understanding fat metabolism, through understanding glandular upregulation, through understanding detoxification, through understanding how important it is that the 7 pillars of health are in place, that your minerals are intact, your vitamins, minerals, and essential fatty acids are intact, that your endocrine system is working, your detoxification pathways, your digestive pathways are working like they're supposed to, that your gene code is getting the nourishment it needs to replicate and to hold the line of good health, to graciously live long and prosper. Wait a second. That just kind of came out. Sorry. Spock had that was my father and me. God bless him. And but I'm excited to be on the show every week and to come with what the Lord puts on my heart to give you guys. And I want you to share this with people. I want you to recognize that you're helping wake people up every time you choose not to poison yourself in public. That could be, you choose not to go to these fast food joints all the time, or when you go, you have your own food, or you just choose not to eat. Or if you incorporate fasting, or if you incorporate shakes, or if you incorporate, supplementation, you start the conversation of better living. There are people that are literally starting circles where they choose friends based on how they eat. It's a big deal because they don't want to be ostracized because they eat funny, because they're choosing a different life, and it shouldn't be that way. I mean, we're literally. It's one thing to be persecuted for Jesus, right? It's another thing to be persecuted because you eat a salad. Yeah. I mean, what have we come to, right? But again, welcome to the world. I mean, I look at it like if we're persecuted for that, if we're persecuted for bringing Jesus into a conversation, and we're being called offensive, hey. The Bible says that take pride and know that that persecution is a good thing, and you're waking people up. You're helping people see a better way of living, and the best version of their life is to come. And every week we're here to do that. Every month we do a live program and have all through the months of the past year because we didn't want to lose the opportunity to share with you guys a message to how to live better, be better in a toxic world. And we know last year was a toxic world. We know that we're still in the aftermath of cleanup. All the more you guys need this information so that you can figure out and how to navigate the next step for you. Remember, the difference between the winners and the losers is one more step. We are choosing at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center to help you move forward one more step. So we ask you guys just come hang out with us tonight. Join us. Let us be a part of your world in any way, shape, and form that you'll let us. It's at 6:30 p.m. Visit our website at justlivewell.com and follow us on all of our social media platforms and tune in every week, 9 to 10 here on KHEA Radio. We're excited to share health and wellness with all you and your friends and family. God bless you.
This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. My name's Gardy. Every Tuesday with Dr. Aaron Chapa. Make sure if you're watching on social media, hit the share button. Share this out. All right. Hey, Facebook, for real. Share this out, though. Y'all are awesome.